Good evening. Welcome to Laird Wellness Live. I'm Scott Laird, and you are?
Jodi Laird.
Really? Are you?
Yes.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you all doing? Hey, we've had quite a week. I hope you have too. And Thanksgiving, we were not here, obviously. Hope you had a good time.
Yes.
And of course, now, everybody's getting back on the wagon, as it were, and we're trying to figure out, what do we do? What do we eat? How do we get these pounds off? Okay, so that's why we decided how to tell you that water plays a role when you are trying to lose weight. And there's some really cool stuff I found that I want to share with you. But first of all, what I want to share with you is that our Biologic Blueprint program, our 8-week program, we are only going to take 10 people before the end of the year. So get that into your heads. Only 10 spots left. This is the most transformational thing you will do. I've just been talking to a Messianic Bible teacher. I won't tell you who it is, but he recently went to Saudi Arabia and to Israel.
Right.
And he told me, and we just started the program before he left, a few weeks before. He got everything settled up, and he realized what he needed to do and started doing it. And his sugars are really high, so we brought the sugars down and all that kind of thing. And he said, Scott, he called me up and says, "You've changed my life." And I kind of laughed and I said, "Yeah, right." And he says, No, you have changed my life. He says, "I would not have been able to climb Mount Sinai and do what I did a few weeks ago without your help." He says, "I was not in shape. I got in shape in a hurry because of what you told me to do." And I was like, wow, okay, that's awesome. So we are going to do a special Health Awakening show coming in January. Okay. And that is at healthawakening.tv. And you can watch this program with this individual. And you can hear it from his lips, what this program did for him. And so we are only going to take 10 you can do this exact program that he did. And this is exactly what he did. Take a look at this right here. So this is what he did. He did our 8-week wellness program. It started with our famous blood lab and our 60-minute consult that we always talk about, right? You know all about that. And then he was the first one to get this, Jodi. He got the customized 8-week meal plan with the grocery list.
Nice.
He was the first one. I just did another one today for someone. It's all the foods that you want to eat, none of the stuff you don't want to eat. It gives you your macros during the day, your protein, your carbohydrates, your fat, all throughout the day, separated into how much of each one of those for each meal. You get 2 meals a day plus a snack, especially if you're doing intermittent fasting like we teach a lot of people, which is what most people need. So you can break that down too. You can say, do you want to do intermittent fasting? Yes or no? Which meal do you want to skip? It's amazing.
And a grocery list.
And a grocery list, which is amazing because then it tells you exactly what you need. You're not wasting anything. And all the instructions are there. It goes week by week. So basically, here's your 7 days. Here's the grocery list you're going to need for those 7 days. And you have basically 8 sets of that. Now, some of the more popular recipes repeat, but a lot of them are originals.
Right.
And so you'll get this customized thing. Guys, this is so customized that when we put it through the paces and we do this for somebody, it takes the software 4 hours to pump it out. Like, that's how detailed this thing is. And so it's around 170 to 200 pages, depending on what you choose and that kind of thing. So it's a huge book, something that you can keep forever. You can print it out if you want, and if you have 200 pages to spare and enough printer ink.
Right.
But you could print it out and you could put it in a binder. That can be your personal cookbook forever. It's not just for this 8-week thing. You have 8 weeks of recipes that are healthy, that will sustain your health, exactly what you learned with us. And that's just it. You learn this thing for 8 weeks, but it goes with you the rest of your life.
Right.
You will learn things that will change your life. It'll change the way you shop for groceries. It will change the way you look at foods. It will change the way you look at supplements. It will change the way you look at everything. And you're going to be a lot wiser. You're going to understand a lot more, and you're basically going to be able to teach others. So basically, the reason we did this, and the reason why we're doing this show with this Messianic teacher in January, is because I told him, I said, look, my mantra from God, if you will, is that I've learned this stuff. I need to pass this on to as many people as possible before it all hits the fan, because we're not going to have access to this. We're not going to have access to that. Jodi and I just watched a very eye-opening, very sobering, and almost scary video of this lady. She's now passed away of cancer last
I
year or
didn't know
something
that.
like this. Yeah, where she worked with San Francisco, some kind of land development organization or something to do with the government of San Francisco. Anyway, they were saying how she was working with the government and realized what the government was doing, and she went, wait a minute, this is really weird. Basically, what they were doing was shutting down the capability for people in rural areas to grow food for themselves.
Oh, wow.
And basically zoning the land so that you couldn't grow anything out there, forcing everybody to give up their farms, sell it off, and move into the cities. Once they're into the cities, there's this concentrated effort to get everybody dependent on the government. You can't grow things here, you can't grow things there. There's very specific ways you can grow things, if at all. And where does all the land go? Makes sense as to why Bill Gates is buying up all the farmland now. It's not to supply food for everyone, it's for control, to push everybody into the cities.
Right.
It was amazing. It was eye-opening. You need to know what you're doing, how to stay healthy, right? And I'm not talking about reliance on supplements for the rest of your life and this kind of stuff.
No.
Just understand what your health needs, what you need to stay healthy, so when it all hits the fan, you're going to know what to do and you're going to be able to help others. I have a strong belief that if you're watching this program, you are one of those people, because not everybody gets this. Very few people get this. When you tell them about videos like this, like, oh yeah, it's a bunch of conspiracy theory. When you tell them about the people who understand true health like you do, they understand about this type of stuff. They understand Agenda 2030. They understand Klaus Schwab. They understand all this crap going on. We are the very few, you guys. We need to teach each other, and I want to teach you how to do this so you can teach other people. That's really what this whole thing is about. And I have been tasked in my spirit to do this.
Right.
So this is what you're going to learn. So you're going to have 30-minute progressive coaching sessions with me every 7 days. So I'm going to teach you stuff every week specific to what you need to correct your health so that you can have your eyes opened and teach others about the same type of stuff. Then you're going to have 6 half-hour educational videos, one every week. You're going to have questions that go with this as well so that you really understand what you're watching. These are things that everybody needs to know, but nobody does. It's not specific to your health exactly, but I'll bet you don't know it, like how to read a food label. When you go to the grocery store, do you know what to look for? Do you know what to avoid? Really? Because we're going to teach you some pretty amazing things, and there's all kinds of videos like that. There's 6 of them, and we're going to make more. There's a bioimpedance body scanning equipment. This helps you keep on track so you know exactly how to read your body. You'll be able to tell when you're going off track eventually with this thing. You'll be able to learn this, and you'll get into a rhythm and you'll get it. Then there's blood monitoring equipment. How to know when to switch up the fuel for fasting. This is another thing. If we don't have access to food and you're hooked on carbs like 99% of America, what are you going to do when there's no food? You've got to learn to live in a fasted state, and that's what this body monitoring equipment teaches you to do, and we'll teach you how to keep on track of that. Even if the blood monitoring equipment doesn't work one day, you'll understand what to do. We're also going to give you a $50 gift card for anything at Laird Wellness to get you started, get you understanding what you need, what you don't need, because a lot of people are taking stuff they don't need. And then there's a HIPAA compliant patient portal where you can put all your results from maybe previous tests you've done, and we can look at all that for you as well and really provide a customized thing for you. And then there's a couple other things there as well, including 20% off a follow-up blood test if you want to do it, which I highly recommend about a month after we are done with you. Do it yourself for another month, and then we can test again and see how you did. Anyway, so that is where there's only 10 spots left. Again, here's how you find out more about it. You go to lairdwellness.com/blueprint. When you go there, you're going to encounter a calendar where you can book time with me. 30 minutes free, no obligation.
Right.
Let's talk about it. Let's find out if it's right for you. If it's not, okay, no harm, no foul, no big deal. But if it is, let's get you signed up now, because we're only taking 10 people before the end of the year. That's all we can handle. That's all we can manage and give you exactly what you need without having too many people in the way.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So but mark this down, do a screenshot, do something. LairdWellness.com/blueprint. Talk to me. Let's talk about this. This is important. Things are progressing quickly. You know that happens when, Kanye appears on Alex Jones.
Oh my goodness.
Which happened today.
That was
so
crazy.
That's getting crazy and crazier. Anyway, so the world's upside down when that kind of stuff happens. Anyway, thank you for that. I just wanted to get that out in the beginning because I really feel strongly about this, and I never realized how important it was until this Messianic teacher told me it changed his life, and he's just gung-ho, and he's like, no, you need to realize, Scott, how serious this is. There you go. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes you don't realize what you got. So that's what I'm saying. LairdWellness.com/blueprint. Now let's talk about water. So we have a scale at home as part of this program. As a matter of fact, that's how we discovered this. We had one of these scales ourselves, and we went, I think everybody needs one of these. So when you do the program, you get one of these. And on this scale, it has a neat, it has an app, and there's a neat thing on there where you can look at your body fat percentage versus your percentage of hydration.
Right.
And what's really interesting to note is that as you drink more water, as your hydration comes up, your fat comes down, and it's almost an exact inverse relationship. So for example, if your water percentage, your body hydration goes up by 1%, your fat will go down by 1%.
Right.
And then if you get lazy about it, you'll notice the fat comes up as the water goes down. So people go, wait a minute. Does that mean if I drink? Yeah.
True story.
Yeah.
That's all I was going to say.
So
True story.
Yeah, and the people go, well, wait a minute. Does that mean if I drink more water, I'm going to lose fat? Yes. Now, is that just theory? Are we just making this up? Is there something wrong with the equipment? I found some research that suggests that is actually true. And we're going to explain why it's happening and how it's happening. So that's what tonight is all about. So it's really interesting. So we're going to start out with something pretty obvious, which I think most people know. I mean, you don't really need research. There is research to support this, but I think you probably have felt this before. And that is that dehydration, so the lack of water, causes fatigue and feelings of low energy, right? Which can make it hard to get up and move.
Yeah.
So actually, multiple studies apparently reported that dehydration was associated with reduced overall physical activity. So what does that mean? If you're dehydrated and you're sitting on the couch and eating chips, which are salty, which causes dehydration,
True.
You're going to feel lazy and go, maybe I'll skip the gym today. I don't want to go. Because, you kind of need that get up and go, right? We all know how it feels. Sometimes you get up in the morning, you don't want to go to the gym, and guess what? You feel crappy all day. You should have just gone. And every time I do that, I kick myself. I should have just gone.
Right.
So anyway, interesting. So does that mean that maybe if I drink more water first, I'll have the energy later to go to the gym? Yeah, try it for a day. We'll show you later how much water to drink, but give it a shot.
Well, you know what I can attest to is if you drink enough water during the day, and I mean a half a gallon or more, then you're going to sleep a lot better too, and then you're going to be able to wake up a lot easier. For me, that's key.
Now, we don't mean drinking a half a gallon right before you go to bed.
No. I mean throughout the day, but it helps a lot with sleep.
I brought mine, and we're going to talk more about this later, but this is my half-gallon jug. Hold it close so you can see the actual size. There you go. Half-gallon jug of water, and I put several things in here. It's not just water, and I'll explain later why. But so I drink that, but there's some specifics about how much water to drink that we're going to find out in just a second. Now, you can imagine when you drink water. So if we're dehydrated, we're going to let the sugars take over and that kind of thing. And so if you mix sugar into your bloodstream is water-based. Okay, remember that your bloodstream is water-based. By the way, that's why we need cholesterol, right? If you've watched this program, you know that. We always talk about this, because fat-soluble nutrients need a mechanism to make it through the blood system, and which is water-based. Well, oil and water or fat and water don't mix. So what are you going to do? You need a carrier. The carrier is cholesterol. That's why you need cholesterol to carry these things through your water-based blood system. Right. So now let's go back to this water-based blood system. If we don't have enough water in that water-based blood system, what's going to happen? It's going to be sort of like what's happening to the Euphrates right now, by the way. Look that up in the Middle East. It is drying up. This is biblical. This is prophesied. Now, it's like a river drying up. So if a river dries up, can things float along that river and go along that river? No, they can't. So what does that mean? If you have more water, will you have better blood flow? Yep, makes sense to me. When you maintain a fully expanded blood volume and adequate circulation via appropriate fluid intake, i.e. water drinking, it is easier for the body to circulate all of the hormones and process energy in the form of ketone bodies. Let's talk about that in a second. Fatty acids, and glucose that aids in the fat loss process. Okay, here's our first hint that drinking water is going to aid in the fat loss process. So let's look at this one thing about the ketone bodies. So it's going to circulate all the hormones and process energy in the form of ketone bodies. What are ketone bodies? Okay, we told you a minute ago about this equipment you're going to get if you sign up for a program, right? It's like a blood glucose monitor that diabetics have, right? Remember, you poke your finger and bleed on the stick, and it goes into the little, what looks like a stopwatch, and it tells you what your blood glucose monitor is. Well, we have one that does that, plus it measures your ketones. What are ketones? Ketones are released when your body decides to burn fat instead of sugar. And that's the whole point for a lot of folks on our program. Stop burning sugar all the time, because that's always a sugar high, sugar crash, sugar high, sugar crash.
True.
And you're never sustained, and you're always eating. And when you're eating, every time you have that sugar crash, that's an insulin spike. So insulin spike, insulin spike, insulin spike. That's inflammation, inflammation, inflammation. Opportunity for disease, disease, disease. You see how this goes?
One thing leads to another.
Yeah, exactly. So you want to have the sustained energy, bigger meals, a lot more fat. Why fat? Well, that's burning ketones. Ketones is like a really clean burning fuel. There's not a lot of metabolic waste. Your body doesn't have to come to the rescue and tamp down all the inflammation, anything like that. Fat burning is a lot better for you. So drinking water actually helps that. See, here's the irony God builds into our bodies, right? The fat and the water that don't mix are actually better for each other.
Right.
The ketone bodies are actually better transported when your blood volume is more, which depends on water. How about that? Okay. So, another thing that's interesting is that the liver, your liver is the filter in the body, right? I was just talking to somebody tonight who's having a little bit of liver struggle, so we recommended this thing to help give the kickstart to the liver a little bit, help get it cleaned out. But just drinking water every day can help your filter stay clean. So here's how that works. So if the liver has to strain, i.e. if you're dehydrated, to eliminate metabolites, it has less capability to metabolize stored fat into usable energy, which is the whole ketone process, right? Ketones are found in the body when you're burning fat. How does it happen? It goes through the liver. Staying well hydrated frees the liver to process body fat so that it can be burned as fuel.
Right.
How about that? Here again, we see this relationship between the water and the fat, the irony that God builds into our bodies.
Right.
So there you go. Helps with the liver. Now, if the liver is happy, you're happy. If the liver's not happy, you got all kinds of problems. Because if nothing can get through the filter, everything's going to back up. Think of it like a coffee filter. If you put grounds in the coffee filter, but there's something blocking the water from making it through the coffee, you're not going to get coffee on the other end. If there's something blocking the filter, you're going to get coffee coming out the top and making a big mess.
Yep.
Right? That's what happens with your body. You need to keep your filter, your liver, clean, and drinking water is obviously an easy way to do that. All right. So, what helps? Well, we talked about that already. So, water versus fat again. So, here's a study now that figured out the relationship between water and fat.
Okay.
Increased hydration can be associated with fat loss or weight loss. Well, we've seen already fat loss, so obviously fat loss leads to weight loss.
True.
Right?
Yep.
So now this is further along the lines of what we always say is that you need to be healthy in order to lose weight. You don't lose weight to be healthy.
Correct.
Okay?
Yep.
So you need to increase your hydration to achieve this weight loss. Here's something, this is a really cool study. There's a couple points here that we're going to make. Here's the first one. So within this study, I highlighted a few things. So let's read the blue together. Physiologically, increased water intake leads to an increase in blood volume. Okay, we read that already with something else, right? From that other website. With an attendant increase in right atrium pressure. Okay, so let's just go with me here. We're going to connect the dots here. This would release atrial natriuretic peptide, ANP, or natriuretic peptide, sorry, ANP, which was one of the first identified natriuretic peptides. Okay, so why? Okay, who cares? Well, here's why. This family of cardiac natriuretic peptides activates uncoupling protein, okay, who cares? That increases fat metabolism and leads to a loss of body weight. So there's that connection. Read the top. Increased water intake, loss of body weight. Okay, that's the mechanism of exactly how that happens.
Right.
Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
Now, there's something else here about this study, too, that was really neat. Check this out. This was further down. Now, this study was done in mice. That's why they're saying human studies. So human studies suggest a similar effect as this study on mice, as an increase in water intake has been associated with a decrease in body weight in obese, overweight, and normal children and adults. Remember what I said about that piece of equipment we have that measures? It's an inverse relationship, right? Yeah. So as you increase your water, your fat comes down, and if you get lazy, the opposite happens. And you can see it. It's almost 1 for 1. If 1% goes up here, 1% goes down there.
Right. It's true.
It's exact. Yeah, it's really weird. So let's continue with that. Okay. So furthermore, in the yellow, addition of just 500 milliliters of water, which is like half a liter, which is a pint. So just a pint of water before eating breakfast.
Wow.
Or a hypocaloric meal, hypo meaning low calorie meal, reduces energy intake or increases weight loss.
Huh.
Interesting. And we're going to read something even after that in the white. In a recent random controlled trial, there was a significant weight loss between a group eating meals with a pre-meal water load compared to the controls without a pre-meal water load. So basically, if you want to lose weight, drink a pint of water before you eat. There you go. Now, don't drink it right after. No. Now, why would you not want to do that, Jodi?
Because you will dilute your juices that
stomach
takes
acid,
to digest your meal.
Yep.
And you don't want to dilute those juices. You want those juices to work as they're supposed to work.
Yep, exactly. Right? Yep. You would dilute your stomach acid, and therefore, if you don't have a strong enough stomach acid, you don't break down the food. If you don't break down the food, you don't get nutrient uptake. If you don't get nutrient uptake, well, the whole cascade of problems. Yeah. And you get leaky gut from that type of thing and everything. So another person I was just dealing with this week just had, now as we age, we inherently have lower stomach acid. So sometimes we need a little help with something called betaine HCl. So that's an easy trick there. Yeah. And you need stomach acid and enzymes.
Correct.
And this person I was talking to had pancreatitis. And you figure, well, what's the connection there? Okay. So the pancreas creates insulin. All diabetics know that, right? You might know that too. And then it also creates enzymes. So enzymes are the things that break down foods. There's enzymes for protein, there's enzymes for carbohydrates, and there's enzymes for fat.
Dairy.
Yep, and dairy. Yep. Yep. So, lipase is for fat, and we could get into everything else, but we won't get into that. Anyway, amylase, protease, lactase for milk. Okay. Right. So anyway, anything that ends, that just interesting. Anything that ends in ASE, when we're talking about that kind of stuff, it's probably an enzyme. So, and it breaks down the food. So raw foods have their own enzymes. So apples have apple-specific enzymes that when you eat them raw, they will break down the apple. And it's less digestive effort, your body's happier, all that kind of good stuff. Enzymes are very temperature sensitive. So if you heat them to more than 107 degrees, which is not very much, right? That's like a really, really hot tub, right? Then you will kill the enzymes. And then there are no enzymes to break down the food. So how are you going to break down the food? Well, your body will create enzymes, digestive enzymes instead to help along. So anytime you eat a cooked food, anytime you eat something out of a box or a can or a jar, your body's own digestive enzymes are involved there, and they come from the pancreas.
Right.
Okay, so if you're continually eating that kind of food and not a lot of raw foods, the pancreas is going to be stressed. When the pancreas gets stressed, it gets inflamed. What does pancreatitis mean? Inflamed pancreas.
Yep.
Anything itis means inflammation. So pancreatitis is an inflammation of the pancreas. And I asked this person, I said, do you eat a lot of vegetables? No, hate vegetables. Okay? Been doing that for a long time? Oh yeah, my whole life. And then we were like, okay, wait a second. And then we also realized he had low stomach acid. So low stomach acid and too much effort. So because he had low stomach acid, so stomach acid and enzymes work together. So basically, the pancreas had to put in more enzymes to compensate for the body not creating enough acid.
And isn't it true that you only have a certain number of enzymes
That's
your
That's
body?
a theory. I don't know how much credence to give that. I have heard that, yes.
Right, but if it is true and there is only a certain number of enzymes, it would lead me to believe that your pancreas will become inflamed when you're definitely not creating enzymes, or you've used them all up. A lifetime of not eating raw foods.
Right. So we should probably assume that if we have a finite number of enzymes, or at the very least, our pancreas slows down.
Yeah.
Because we know that as we age, everything slows down, right? So slow down slow down the production of everything pretty much, including enzymes. So yeah, that's what he had. So what we did was we basically gave him betaine HCl to bring up his stomach acid, thank you, and then a digestive enzyme, all to sort of help, in theory, the pancreas to heal and give him more digestive comfort in the meantime. Anyway, so how do we get there from water? I'm not sure. Oh yeah, we talked about this. About this pre-meal water. Okay, yeah, so drink a pint of water before you eat. Okay, before you eat, not after. The whole reason we just explained here is why you don't want to do it after.
Right.
All right, so that's only a pint of water, but surely you want to drink more than that.
Yes.
So here's what I teach everybody. This is exactly what is in this little jar right now. I have a half gallon of filtered water. Take a screenshot of this. Do yourself a favor. Half a gallon of filtered water. A half a teaspoon of Himalayan salt. Why do we do that? Because when we get water out of our taps, out of any municipal water service, it's not like getting it out of the spring. It's not like getting it out of a well. Okay, so there's not all of the natural minerals in there. So we need to put some minerals back. Himalayan salt has more than sodium chloride. Himalayan salt, the pink stuff, has 80 plus minerals in it to help your body deal with the sodium chloride, which happens to be very handy to add to filtered water.
Not to mention it helps you hang on to the water.
Yes, and that's why. So yes, thank you, Jodi. Because if you drink water that does not have enough minerals, water is a magnet for minerals. It wants minerals to remain stable. The water we get out of the tap or out of the filter in your fridge or whatever, it's not that stable. So what it's going to do is it's going to rob minerals from your body, albeit small amounts, but over time it can reduce your body's uptake of minerals, and then you have all kinds of problems in your cells. They're not functioning properly. You don't have the electrical energy that you need, and it just creates all kinds of problems. So you want to stabilize the water as you're drinking it. So don't make the water look for minerals in your body. Put the minerals in here before you drink it, and then it's stable going in, stable going out. It doesn't feel like it needs to rob any minerals from anywhere, and just flushes things out very nicely. And it can actually help to replenish minerals where you are losing some as well. So that's the first thing you want to put into your water. What else do you put in your water? 1 tablespoon of MSM powder. So, Jodi, can you think of some things that MSM powder is good for?
Well, first of all, it potentiates every other mineral or
that's something
vitamin.
I've forgotten about. Yes, good one.
Yes. Helps with joints and ligaments. So if you are working out or just starting to work out, it helps you not have pain. It's a cancer preventative. I mean, it does a zillion different things.
Yep.
And I mean, you put in 1 tablespoon. I put in 3 tablespoons of MSM in my water. Yeah, absolutely. And boy, I am never sore, no matter how much I work out.
Yep.
or anything I do, and it gives you energy as well.
Yep. So MSM powder is essentially, what is it? Methyl sulfonyl so it's basically methylated sulfur.
Right.
Is what it
So
is.
basically,
Sulfur your body can
all
absorb.
the goodness that you get from cruciferous vegetables are what you get in MSM, but it's concentrated.
And it just looks like really cold northern snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
And it
looks like.
doesn't really taste like anything in water. If you're doing it, by itself, just in maybe a couple tablespoons full of water, yeah, it's super bitter.
Super
and I
bitter,
would
yeah.
not suggest that, but some people like to get it over with.
But in a half gallon, not
Nah,
gonna taste anything.
I don't taste it at all.
So 3 drops of iodine. Now that's something I do, but Jodi doesn't.
Right.
Because I want to just take care of my thyroid is slightly hypothyroid, so I do that. Jodi is hypothyroid as well, but she has it coupled with an autoimmune condition. So that's something you don't want to do. If you have Hashimoto's, skip the iodine. We also put in lemon juice or powder. I get the stuff called True Lemon. Make sure you get the stuff without any sweetener in it. It's just
filler.
crystallized lemon.
Yep.
And I put stevia in it. So what have we done here? We have created homemade and better for you Gatorade. That's what this means. So that is my water recipe. So I drink a half gallon a day. In fact, I tell everybody until I'm done this, I'm not done my day. So I still have some to drink here. And that's why I do this, because a lot of people say, well, drink 8 glasses of water a day. Yes, I know that's the old standby, and that's still true. Nothing wrong with that. But you do need to add some things to it. It's not just water out of the filter, out of the tap. I mean, that's okay. It's not the best. I'm
Right.
trying to teach you the best. Okay. So then instead of doing 8 glasses, which I'll never keep track of throughout the day, because I've got so many splintered things throughout the day, I just want to make it simple. So I'm like, okay, I put it all in here. When I'm done, I'm done. So maybe that's just a guy thing, but anyway, so that's how I know that I'm done, is when I'm done that water.
Right.
And so maybe that's what I'm suggesting for you too. So at least a gallon, and then you probably want to put that extra pint or that extra 500 mils before a meal.
Yes.
Or maybe before both meals. You'll be getting a whole liter, Anyway, a whole liter. I'm thinking in Canadian terms now. I can't think of what the equivalent to a liter is.
500 mils?
No, 1 liter is basically a
quart?
Quart. Thank you. Oh my gosh.
All
How
right.
come I couldn't think of that.
There we go.
Anyway, okay. So, again, that is all we wanted to talk to you about water. We want to keep it nice and simple.
Yep.
So again, if you want to do our program, all you have to do, again, we only have 10 spots left. Go here, get your free half hour with me, lairdwellness.com/blueprint. Let's talk about it. Let's get you ready for end times. They're coming. Nobody is going to stop the Great Reset. I'm sorry. We may slow it down, but guess what, guys? That's the way the book of Revelation reads. We're heading there. We have no choice. We are heading toward this thing, so you might as well get ready for it now. And if we have a bit of a reprieve from leaders that helped to stop it for a while, great. But you know what? This train's moving and it ain't going to stop. So you might as well learn how to get healthy now. And we can do that with you here, and you will be much better for it. You'll be amazed what you learn. Okay. Thanks very much for your time and attention, and we will see you next time on Laird Wellness Live. Talk to you next week.
Take care.